Today, the Hingham Shipyard is a popular place to dine, play games, watch movies, and enjoy the outdoors. The shipyard is loaded with boats across its marina, 5-star dine-in restaurants, and a variety of apartment complexes for living spaces. However, this wasn't how the shipyard always was. Far long ago, the Hingham Shipyard was way more significant, near World War II. The well-known Hingham Shipyard was a far different place to what we see now as a place of joy and a popular place to dine and eat. As of September 1st, 1939, World War II had just begun, and a home-based shipyard was needed to prepare safely for the war across the seas. During this time, the Bethlehem Shipyard, located on the backside of the Weymouth River, served as an extremely useful home base for building powerful ships to departure into battle, such as the USS LST-907 and the USS LST-1064. If creating humongous ships was not already enough, the shipyard built tremendous ships at extremely rapid fire. In total, the shipyard produced nearly 277 ships in its 4 years of use. Let alone that, the shipyard employed nearly 30,000 men and women. Though the shipyard produced large amounts of job opportunities for people all across Massachusetts, this was not nearly the factor that made it so unbelievable. To put it into perspective, compared from on-land military control, in the ocean there's no land to occupy. Therefore, creating a fleet of ships as such can be extremely vital to the success of a war. Having nearly 277 ships being sent across the Atlantic, in addition to the slow-moving military support provided by the U.S., proved to be extremely helpful. One of Hingham Shipyard's most notorious factors is that they released 10 DEs, meaning destroyer escort ships, in a single month. Putting that into perspective, a destroyer escort ship ranges from 250 to 290 feet long. Given that, the efficiency of these monsters was unreal. Once set seas, the U.S. was set to deliver serious medical and militant supplies to Britain in order to aid them in World War. It wasn't until December 7th, 1941, that the United States officially joined the war, following the bombings of fleets in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Prior to the U.S. formally joining the war as a superpower, the Hingham Bethlehem Shipyard did a great deal of aiding allies fighting in the war abroad. Back just after the war had finished, Patriot Ledger states in an article, Bethlehem's steel yard in Hingham, Massachusetts was able to deliver a DE in just 25 days. By contrast, the construction time for a fleet destroyer before the war had been 8 to 10 months. Competition between shipyards swelled as new records were made and broken. Effects on World War II. To give a brief background, the Allies side was United States, Soviet Union, France, Great Britain, and in a little bit China. The Axis side was Italy, Germany, and Japan. The Hingham Bethlehem Shipyard has come a very long way to become the loving shopping, food, and entertainment area as it is now. As of September 1st, 1939, World War II had begun, and with that, the United States were in need of a home-based shipyard, and the slot just north of the Weymouth River fit perfectly. 1941 to 1945, the official timing of World War II, with conflict arising abruptly between Germany and Great Britain was in need of serious help. The British were losing 500,000 tons of shipping a month to Germany, with its subs dominating and controlling the oceans. And the British were slowly strangled. In desperate need of help, the United States sent ships upon ships in order to aid them. Germany's U-boats were quite powerful at sinking and capsizing the naval side of Britain's army, so in desperate need, the Hingham Shipyard was called. 1942. Bethlehem Steel Shipyard, known as Beth Hingham, builds 100 convoy ships, destroyer escort DEs, on 16 separate ways at Hewitt's Cove. At its peak there, over 24,000 workers. LSTs are later built after VE Day, and the shipyard is awarded the letter E by the U.S. Navy. This was a huge accomplishment to the Hingham Shipyard, as it was such a small town-wide shipyard compared to the big country that it was located in. Also, the Hingham Shipyard provided people with tremendous amounts of jobs. To start, just nearly 10 years after the Great Depression, people still struggled in search of employment. However, the Hingham Bethlehem Shipyard gave out great opportunities for people of all ages, genders, and in such a tough time of war. The end of war found Four Rivers Shipyard larger than ever, but with little work to do other than completing war-associated contracts. The keynote of the post-war era, as far as the Four Rivers Shipyard was concerned, was diversification. The yard took on many non-ship related tasks, as I mentioned before. With over 30,000 men and women working on these great ships, they were able to truly work their blood, sweat, and tears into these boats in order to take the victory for America. This shipyard not only being able to work towards its main goal, which was aiding in war, it provided jobs for the people around the town who were willing to put in the work. To conclude, the Hingham Bethlehem Shipyard not only provided jobs to people in the greater Boston area, it saved a significant amount of people around the globe during World War II. The changing of historical norms, impact of the result of World War II, and supporting the citizens of a developing country combined to make this little place so impactful. It is amazing to think that such a small place can make such a big impact. To clear up, the Hingham Bethlehem Shipyard did far more than break barriers. The shipyard utilized their rapid shipbuilding power in order to help allies in war, which ultimately impacted the final outcome. Not only that, the shipyard again blasted through records of timing for shipbuilds, as well as create a workplace for hardworking employees that made all the magic happen.